Hello, and thanks for joining me. I know there's a lot of sessions to attend, so thank you for choosing mine. I'm Simon Ryder. I'm Global Sales Enablement Director at JLL, better known as Jones Lang LaSalle. We're in the corporate real estate business, Fortune 500 company, turnover about 17 billion, and just over 90,000 staff. So it's a big organization. I've got around 700 salespeople spread around the world, both sales new logo and sales account managers. So it's a big job. There's a lot to do. So what I wanted to do today was just share some thoughts around the road to successful sales enablement. Now, what I mean by that is really addressing an audience that's probably two people, either sales enablers who are looking to kind of get some tips and tricks to be more successful in their role, or sales leaders, perhaps even board members who are looking at sales enablement and wondering how best to work with the function itself. So this little conversation is really just around some experience that I've had and some things that you can probably take away, at least I hope you can. So nice and casual, doing this all in one take, obviously in my usual home office now that we're all locked down. So there's only 4 points I'm really going to make. I'm going to expand on them as we go through, but those 4 points are really straightforward. If you're setting up in a sales enablement role, 4 things to bear in mind: gain understanding, win support, develop a strategy, and create believers. Now, I'm going to explain a bit more about those as we go through, but I've done 2 massive sales enablement roles following on from 25 years in sales. So I think I've got a fair bit of experience to look at this. Now, one thing I would say is that I come at sales enablement from a pure sales background. I was a sales rep and sales manager and sales director and so on, all the way through my 25 years. So I'm not coming at sales enablement from a marketing or an HR training or theoretical or a sales operational analytical type way. I've been right there holding the target out in front of customers, being destroyed when I haven't brought in the numbers and being praised when I have. So this is all born out of experience, not theory. So if that is something you want to listen to, then let's carry on. All right, so 4 steps. First one is gain understanding. Now, if you start in a new sales enablement role, number 1 thing I would urge you to do, beyond and outside of probably your onboarding plan, would be go and sit with sales. Go and actually spend a day sitting amid the sales team. Sit right next to someone and track the calls they make, the emails they receive. You'll be amazed at what comes in salespeople's inboxes these days. See what they do, hear what people are saying. What's the sales culture? Are they motivated? What are the gripes? What are the moans? Okay. Unless you sit with sales, you won't have a good enough understanding of the audience, your customers as a sales enabler that you're trying to reach. So you've got to really understand how people work, how the sales leaders work. So spend time sitting with them. I blend it in 2 ways. I go and actually sit directly with salespeople, or I maybe sit adjacent to them with a big ear out across the office, just picking up on things. But make notes, think about it. It's the best way of studying your customer, because that is your customer, the entire sales audience. Okay. Number 2, follow the sales process and follow it right the way across. See what all the paperwork does. Come right the way from product development all the way through until invoice, every single step on the chain. Follow something through the stages in CRM. See the different bits and tasks that salespeople have to do. There are some mad sales processes out there. People still print things out, sign it and scan it. You know, there's all sorts of crazy things that prevent sales from executing properly, but you won't know unless you follow the sales process right the way through. It's also a really good way of doing point 3. Creating your network. Unless you take time to meet everyone along the way, you won't have an understanding of how the delivery team are always griping about sales because sales miss important details. Customer expectations are misaligned, and then you have a bit of a toxic relationship between 2 departments. So create the network as you go. Follow up with people. Draft a standard kind of thank you email in your draft emails and fire it out within seconds of having a conversation with them. You'll be amazed how many times people fail to follow up. Just these simple things will help you build a network. And all the while, you are gaining your understanding of the business. Now, this is over and above what your sponsors and boss might be saying, but do it because you'll get a better understanding across the business. Second point, win support. So after you've gained understanding, you're probably starting to see the things that need fixing, where the business needs help, along with the challenges that you've probably been given. So make sure you win support along the way. So gather up sponsors. Sometimes it's not always the most senior person in the department. Look for the change agents, the new starters, the people with outside thinking, not the people who've been sitting at the same desk doing the same job for 5, 8, 10 years. Look for the people that are going to be a catalyst to support you in making a change, because if the business didn't want change, why did they employ you? I mean, you should set that expectation before you even start, but plenty of people don't. So gather sponsors along the way. Ask people, what can I do for you? Here's what I'm here to deliver, but what can I do for you? What's important for you? What are your KPIs and measures? Because you start to win support. This is important later down the line when invariably you'll run short of budget, or you need to call in favors, or find some other way that someone is going to need to put themselves out to help you. So get the support going. And once you finish that kind of initial phase, that's when you've really got to be agreeing your priorities. Now, it isn't necessarily what you think, it's got to be what your boss thinks and what other people are prepared to buy into as well. But work hard at these, really sift through them, and make sure that you put them in the order of priority. Just because someone might think, oh yes, doing point A is really, really important, is it actually impactful? Will it take the sales team forward? If you've got 6 months of your sales year remaining, focus on the things with a shorter lead time that you can get closed to get revenue numbers up for the end of the year, rather than picking longer sales objectives. So get them agreed. I've run workshops with sales teams and sales leaders where you score and prioritize things between, cost of the initiative, impact to the business, how it aligns with the company strategy. Score everything, and only then can you really agree priorities. And once you've agreed them, make sure you can verify it with data. Because if you can't verify it with data, you cannot prove the impact that you are making. See, what you need to do is say, when I started this program, we were here, now we're here. But if you haven't taken that baseline and verified the data, you're not going to be able to prove your progress. And proving your progress is one thing that really helps justify your existence as someone working in sales enablement. So there's the first two: gain understanding and win support. Once you're through that, next one, develop strategy. So developing a strategy, why is that different to identifying the priorities? You know the priorities, but what is your strategy for delivering against them? How will you deliver against them? Spend a great deal of time thinking about this and whiteboarding it out, testing it. I wake up in the middle of the night with a pad next to the bed and I draw out crazy diagrams and things and plan different ways of doing it. And I look at ways that I can come up with a strategy and a plan that people can understand. I try and make sure that everything's graphical, be it, circles or pyramids or building blocks, or come up with a theme for what you're trying to do. One role we did License to Sell, which is kind of a James Bond themed sales qualification program, and we hung everything off that. You can do different things around it. I'm now doing something around sales curriculums. I'm sure everybody's facing the same challenges, but with sales teams off the road, working from home, it's a challenge to try and make sure the skill levels, interest, motivation is up there. So you're having to move and flex what you're doing. So all the time, create the plan and a structure that's going to deliver it. Now, why do I say a structure? You can't do it on your own. You need to make sure you've got people supporting you around. So you need to start identifying who it is in the business can help you. And they could come from sales operations, from learning and development. You could find a video crew, someone who's really good with graphics, someone in marketing who maybe help give you a theme with the PowerPoints. Make sure you're on message. If everything looks good, you're starting to get things coming across. So once you've done that, your next part is communicate. You've got to communicate the plan, both upwards to your senior leaders and across the entire sales team. You need to be getting to sales meetings. You need to be on sales calls. You need to be always begging an extra 5 minutes just to show them 3 slides. Just one more thing. Make sure everyone is aware of what your plan is. And while you're doing that, 2 things to bear in mind. Do not overpromise. Don't overpromise the number of things you're going to deliver, and be realistic with your timeframes. If you do that, then you can start to build credibility across the organization. If you don't do that and you promise too many things, you get carried away trying to be a people pleaser, you will fail. Your brand will be diluted, your influence will be diminished, and your network of supporters won't be there for you. So while you're communicating your plan, make sure you also demonstrate the sponsorship you have. If the sales culture is bad, you're never going to get things to change. But you need to have sales managers, sales directors, sales leaders, your CRO, whoever it might be, standing alongside you, ideally at town halls and presentations, giving you a slot at their meetings, getting you to present at board level, to make sure everybody is totally clear with your plan. You can call on their sponsorship, because otherwise people won't change, and you're here as a change agent. So there's a lot to developing a strategy. It's about having a plan that you can execute and having the support network that will help you, but the top level air cover to make sure it's going to get pushed through. It's going to continue to be a priority across the organization. So now we've covered 3 points: gain understanding, win support, and develop strategy. Fourth one, you get this right, you're going to succeed. Create believers in what you're doing. Create a tribe of believers across the organization. You'll find it quite easy to identify them. Once you launch a couple of things, and hopefully within the first 60 to 90 days, you'd have gained a decent understanding, an immediate priority, and launched something. Once you've launched it, you will find a couple of people will be, this is great, brilliant. They'll be sending you feedback, they'll be phoning you up. These are the people that you need to keep on side. These are your champions to amplify your next, probably more difficult things that you're going to launch. So create believers across the business. Firstly, deliver that quick quality win. It could be a bite-sized course on presentation skills. It could be a complete reshuffling of the e-learning. It could be some key messaging at a roadshow or town halls. Whatever it is, make sure it's quality and it speaks to what you're trying to deliver. When you've done that, use the champions to amplify it. Call on them, ask for their feedback, get them to test the next few things you're thinking of doing. And while you're doing this, always provide update reports upwards. Now, I do a monthly deck that I always present to my boss. I keep it updated. It's like a notepad. We've got a set structure. I've got timelines and initiatives. I show him the progress on it. I give new ideas. In fact, I constantly give new ideas. Make sure they're informed. Frankly, always be a bit of a challenge agent. Be asking for more budget. Be saying we could go faster. We could make more impact. It's much better to have a boss saying to you, put the brakes on, just deliver 1 or 2 things, than it is having someone going, what else have you got for me? So those are my 4 points. Okay? Just run through them again. Gain understanding, win support, develop your strategy, and create believers. Now, if you do that, you'll be on the road to successful sales enablement. Now, you'll notice in this little chat, I've not covered anything about technology. Okay, I haven't gone and said, oh, you need to have a sales enablement tool and all of the many providers that are out there. Do not get caught up on technology. It's about people at the end of the day. Technology will enable the initiatives you're trying to deliver, but make sure it's about the people. Keep the messages straightforward and repeatable, but make sure when you've got your whole plan there, there's a sense to it. Focus on the sales producers, the sales leaders, the strategy, the sales methodology. These are all core areas where you can make a difference, but if you follow the 4 steps I've been talking about, gaining understanding, winning support, developing your strategy, and creating believers, you'll be successful. So that brings us to the end. Is the nice picture of the road again, done in 1 take with the helpful stormtrooper in my home office. Look, thanks for watching, and I wish you every success.